it's on my mind, it's rolling through, and I'm replaying and rehashing discussions.
In the quiet storm that has become the life of the Brown family, the silence was broken, not with understanding, but with outrage raw, boiling, explosive outrage. Kody Brown, once hailed as the strong-willed patriarch trying to hold together a plural family dream, now stood broken, trembling at the knees of a truth he could no longer run from. The courthouse steps became his stage, but this time the performance was unhinged. He didn't walk out, stormed out, eyes sharp with fury, face pale with disbelief, and a voice cracking under the weight of what had just happened inside that courtroom. "This will bankrupt me." He shouted to no one in particular and everyone who would listen. It wasn't hyperbole, it was desperation. Word around the courtroom is that Kody didn't just threaten financial collapse, he practically admitted it right there, right then. A man once obsessed with power revealed his house of cards. A court clerk followed him, maybe to check on the documents, maybe just to make sure he was all right. But Kody, unfiltered and unraveling, reportedly hissed something even darker. "I won't be strong-armed into paying for kids who've turned against me." Those words, so sharp and so damning, weren't just spoken out of frustration. They were spoken with conviction. It was a slap in the face to every child who once called him dad, to every memory of birthdays, scraped knees, and whispered prayers in a crowded household of many mothers and too little understanding. Inside that courtroom, Christine stayed. Behind, her shoulders straight, her expression calm. She didn't hear the explosion in the parking lot, but her lawyer did. And even before Kody's tantrum echoed back through the walls, Christine's team was already preparing for the next step. They weren't naive. They knew Kody would appeal. He had to be, because to comply would mean admitting defeat, not just to Christine, but to the entire world. And Kody Brown doesn't admit defeat. Not willingly. The judgment had hit like a sledgehammer. Monthly child support payments far beyond what Kody had ever expected, and worse, it was retroactive. Over a year's worth of expenses that Kody had shrugged off now lay before him as official debt. Christine hadn't just shown up ready. She showed up locked and loaded. Her team brought everything: school invoices, doctor visit copays, screenshots of Venmo transactions she'd made on behalf of their kids. The evidence wasn't just overwhelming, it was airtight. Kody couldn't deflect, he couldn't deny, he could only rage. He's livid, one family insider confessed, but honestly, it's his own fault. He's always treated child support like it's some kind of personal attack instead of a legal responsibility. This isn't revenge, this is reality. And still, even in the wake of hard facts and legal signatures, Kody clung to his narrative like a man grasping a rope in a flood. He told his confidants Christine had blindsided him. He claimed the judge was biased. He insisted the math didn't reflect his current financial situation. But the more he talked, the more it sounded like damage control, less like truth. According to insiders, Kody wasn't even out of the courthouse before whispers of an appeal began, circling like smoke from a fire he started himself. The whole plan, he had once said proudly, was for that home, my home, to be an asset. For the family. Eventually, when I built out on the property, it was never supposed to end up just mine. But somewhere along the way, it did. And now, that dream was collapsing under the weight of long-ignored responsibilities. At home, the walls echoed with pacing footsteps and panicked murmurs. Sources close to Robyn say Kody didn't sleep that night. He stalked around their living room, ranting about false numbers, slamming cabinet doors, calling the ruling a political hit job. Robyn didn't attend the court session, but she certainly heard about it. And when she did, her reaction wasn't sympathetic, it was fury. Not because Christine had won, but because their household, the sanctuary Kody had built up as his refuge, was now being pulled into the financial battlefield. Robyn's life, her comfort, her children's security was now under the microscope. Yet even Kody's tantrum may have triggered something far worse, a financial audit. Christine's legal team didn't just want their child support, they wanted transparency. And that meant opening up Kody's books. Every account, every deposit, every suspicious transfer, especially one that sent a chill through the courtroom when it was revealed. According to multiple sources, Christine's team slid a document across the table so quietly, so deliberately, that even the judge paused to process what it meant. It was a bank transfer, a large one, nearly $15,000 pulled directly from one of the family's old joint accounts. The memo line, family needs. But the kicker? That account had been inactive for over a year until Kody allegedly reactivated it right before the hearing. The judge looked up and asked Kody calmly, "Is there anything you'd like to clarify?" He didn't answer. He froze. That silence echoing through the courtroom said more than 1,000 protests ever could. Legal experts now say that moment was a turning point. A family court mediator remarked, "You don't move that kind of money?" Right before a support hearing, unless you're preparing for an outcome you don't like. And when you do it from an account that's been dormant for a year, it raises serious red flags. Christine didn't accuse him of fraud. She didn't have to. A paper did the talking. And now, more than ever, Kody finds himself facing not just judgment, but exposure. Because that transfer, it wasn't an isolated incident. Christine's team allegedly uncovered a pattern. Multiple transactions, each small enough to avoid alarms. But together they told a story. The story of evasion, manipulation, and fear. And fans online quickly connected the dots. That very same week, photos surfaced of new luxury furniture being delivered to Robyn's house. Expensive decor, Amazon hauls, and garden upgrades, all just days after the mysterious $15,000 vanished. Coincidence? Maybe, but public opinion is rarely so forgiving. One fan wrote, "You don't pull $15,000 from a joint account and suddenly show off new patio sets. The optics are terrible. The timing. Worse, Christine's team had quietly flagged multiple transfers. They knew what they were building toward a case, not just of financial neglect, but of deliberate avoidance. One former Brown family friend even suggested that Kody had been moving money in chunks, keeping each under a certain threshold to avoid detection. But this time, the pieces clicked. Christine's expression when she exited the courthouse wasn't smug. It wasn't arrogant, with something far more dangerous to Kody's ego: vindication. Because this wasn't about winning a case. It wasn't about payback. This was about principle. About the fact that Christine had quietly carried the burden for years. She paid tuition, dental bills, groceries, extracurricular fees, everything a father should have helped with. And all the while, Kody had been pouring time, money, and energy into what Christine often referred to as the main household. His real priority. Those words cut deeper than any court ruling ever could. Because to Christine, to Janelle, and even to Meri, the message had always been the same. You are less. Your children are less. Robyn was the protected one, the one who had Kody's full attention, full wallet, full loyalty. Everyone else, disposable. And now that favoritism had a price tag. One Kody could no longer afford to ignore. Sources say Robyn is furious, not just at Christine, but at Kody, because this whole meltdown is dragging her and her children into the public eye in a way she never wanted. But even Robyn can't deny the paper trail. That money didn't vanish into thin air. And when the judge sees it again, because rest assured, an appeal is coming, there will be no more excuses, only facts. Behind the scenes, Christine has found strength not in vengeance, but in purpose. This was never about punishing Kody, she allegedly told her attorney. It's about what our kids deserve, period, okay? And she didn't come to that courtroom hoping to destroy him. She came hoping to finally be heard. For years, she had watched Kody choose comfort over character, loyalty to Robyn over love for his children. But now, Christine isn't asking anymore. She's demanding. This time, the law
I thought it was acceptable. I thought I could make up the difference. I thought everything in this situation with all three wives.
The storm swirling around the Brown family wasn't just contained in courtrooms or legal filings anymore. It had erupted into the public sphere, igniting every corner of the internet with disbelief and disgust. Kody Brown's facade of the overwhelmed father, the misunderstood husband, the man just trying to keep his plural family together, was cracking. And this time, the cracks were loud. Christine had always wanted to keep it private. That much is clear. She didn't want a circus. She didn't want drama. She just wanted what was fair for her kids. But fairness doesn't stand a chance against a man clinging to a sinking image. Kody didn't just fail to show up emotionally. For his children, he failed financially. And Christine, heartbroken but determined, was forced to act. What started as quiet disappointment had now become a tidal wave of financial evidence. Courtroom silence and public outrage. One insider, close to the Brown family, said it plainly. Christine hoped this would never come to court. But Kody gave her no choice. And it turns out the real scandal wasn't just the $15,000 transfer revealed in court. It was the pattern that came to light afterward. Christine's team had been watching. They weren't just gathering receipts, they were piecing together a puzzle. What they found stunned even the most seasoned legal observers: a breadcrumb trail of small deposits, most under $2,000, sent from an LLC tied to the Brown family. The recipient, an online business listed under Robyn's name. And these weren't one-time transfers. They were consistent, strategic. Over 5 months, the money moved quietly, methodically, so small it wouldn't trigger alarms, but frequent enough to raise suspicion. And the most damning detail: it's the largest transfer, just over $2,000, happened the very weekend of Robyn's birthday. That same weekend, Kody reportedly ghosted the rest of his children. Not a call, not a visit. One of his teenagers confided in a friend, saying it was like we didn't exist. But Robyn, she had a spa day in Sedona, a luxury retreat, a celebration. And someone no one knows who posted a glowing update about it on social media before quickly deleting the photos. But the screenshots, they were already in circulation. The fans had a name for it now: the PayPal trail. What started as whispers in private groups became the internet's favorite expos. TikTok, Reddit, Facebook, ablaze with screenshots, voiceovers, and emotional commentary. Christine hadn't accused anyone of theft. She didn't need to. The timeline was the proof. Her legal team knew what they were doing. Courts don't need intent, one insider said. They just need patterns. And this one screamed manipulation. But that wasn't even the worst of it, because while Christine was juggling tuition fees, dental appointments, and groceries for her teenage kids while she was scraping together what she could to make life, normal Robyn was quietly upgrading everything: lighting fixtures, bedroom sets, drapes, designer chandeliers. A former neighbor even joked to a Flagstaff blog, "It's like watching a Pinterest board come to life." But it wasn't a joke to Christine, or to her kids, or to the fans watching. The injustice unfolded in real time. It was a slap in the face, plunged to the gut, especially when court documents confirmed that Kody hadn't contributed to multiple school expenses. And yet, Robyn's house was apparently a revolving door for high-end deliveries, some arriving late into the night. Even more shocking, a deleted social media post from a local interior design vendor that allegedly included an invoice, dated just days before the infamous $15,000 transfer. The amount matched the service listed: luxury outdoor furniture. And according to one fan with knowledge of the gated community, the vendor only had one client on that hill. The connection's obvious. The implication, devastating. Christine didn't smile after the ruling. She didn't brag. She didn't gloat. But when asked how she felt, a friend close to her revealed she only said one word: vindicated. because this wasn't revenge, which was justice. And finally, the truth was too loud to ignore. Social media went into meltdown mode. Like hashtag where is the money? Hashtag Brown family receipts and hashtag justice for Christine trended for days. Fans shared side-by-side images of Christine's modest kitchen next to Robyn's brand new foyer. TikTok creators edited clips of Robyn preaching about unity and fairness. Then cut to courtroom facts and delivery truck sightings, all overlaid with sarcastic voiceovers. One viral video even ended with the now iconic phrase, "Kody said he couldn't afford child support, but Robyn got custom curtains." The irony was suffocating, the hypocrisy undeniable. Even legal analysts weighed in. Judges don't like being played, one family law expert said in a YouTube breakdown. If there's even a whiff that someone's funneling money through a spouse or business, subpoenas start flying fast. And that's exactly what Christine's team was reportedly preparing, a formal request to access Robyn's business accounts. Because the question wasn't just about Kody paying or not paying. It was whether the money meant for his children had been rerouted into home renovations, boutique purchases, and even that infamous doll room. The fans couldn't believe it. And neither could the adult kids. What started as a legal fight between ex-spouses was now becoming a generational reckoning. Because Christine's daughters and sons had grown up, they had witnessed the imbalance firsthand, and they were finally ready to speak. One adult child reportedly told a friend, "I had to drop out of school for a semester. No one would co-sign. No help but Robyn's kids. They got MacBooks for their homeschool setup." Another heartbreakingly shared that she missed out on senior pictures because there was no money for the photo package. The same weekend, Robyn bragged online about redoing her entryway. That post deleted, but not before the screenshots made it to Reddit, and now those kids are allegedly working with Christine's legal team, quietly, deliberately. They're not trying to attack Robyn's children. They're trying to show a pattern, a long-standing truth that Kody played favorites. And the children outside Robyn's walls paid the price. One daughter even submitted a timeline showing 3 missed birthdays in a row from Kody. No card, no gift, no call. Yet in the same time frame, Kody sent expensive electronics to Robyn's youngest. The evidence is painful, but powerful. Kody's response? Silence. At least until recently. According to a well-placed source, Kody stormed out of a family Zoom after one of his sons asked, "Why is there always money for Robyn's stuff, but never for our college apps?" He didn't argue, he didn't deny it, he just logged off. The call ended, the damage didn't. That silence, so consistent, so loud, became symbolic. The fans noticed, so did the press. Because Kody wasn't just refusing to answer hard questions, he was allegedly living large in the shadows. Less than 24 hours after the court ruled that Kody owed thousands in overdue child support less. Then a day after he told the judge his income was unstable, he was reportedly spotted test driving a luxury Mercedes SUV, and the color. Robyn's favorite, deep metallic blue. The sighting came from a private Flagstaff Facebook group. A fan posted that Kody looked very comfortable behind the wheel, and when asked if he was trading something in, he reportedly laughed and said, "Nope, this one's just for me." Within hours, screenshots of dealership tags, blurry, cell phone photos, and anonymous tips were everywhere. The headline wrote itself. Kody claims bankruptcy, then shops luxury. But here's where it gets truly scandalous. Sources close to the family allege Kody didn't pay for the car outright. They claim he may have had help, possibly from Robyn. Some speculate she co-signed the loan. Others whisper that the money used to secure the car came directly from one of their shared LLCs. If true, this would be catastrophic for Kody's legal stance. Because remember, he claimed in court that he and Robyn kept finances separate, that she had her own income, that he was struggling to survive alone. But a luxury SUV, possibly funded with shared resources, proves the opposite. legal observers are watching closely. If Christine's team moves forward with subpoenas and a post-ruling down payment shows up in Kody's bank statements, the court could view it as deliberate misrepresentation. And appeals don't go well when the person appealing is caught in a lie. Meanwhile, Kody's reputation continues to spiral, not because of the money, but because of the message. The optics. And in a world where fans are the jury of public opinion, Kody's losing that trial fast. His world is unraveling, not just financially, but emotionally, socially, and publicly. And if the rumors are true, the next step might be the most damaging. Of all, a court-mandated forensic audit of every account Kody and Robyn have touched over the last 2 years. If the paper trail leads where fans suspect it will, the final part of this saga could be Kody's downfall. As the courtroom emptied and the last echoes of footsteps faded, Kody stood frozen, his body stiff as if his spine had turned to stone. The judge's ruling still rang in his ears like a cruel bell child support, backdated and recalculated. Now surged over $15,000 per month. It was more than just a ruling. It was a verdict on his failures as a husband, as a father. And as a man who once paraded his polygamous kingdom like royalty on reality TV, his hands trembled slightly as he adjusted his blazer, but his eyes red and wild, scanned the vacant rows of seats like a man on the edge of a battlefield. His pride had taken a hit, but it was his finances those dwindling. Hemorrhaging numbers that threatened to destroy what little remained of the empire he had so confidently built around Robyn. Back in the hallway, Robyn paced like a caged animal. Her face was blotchy from crying, her mascara trailing like tracks of regret. She clutched her phone tightly, waiting for Aurora to respond, but silence greeted her on the other end. It was all slipping control, reputation, money. For years, she had been painted as the favored wife, the pampered one, the manipulator behind the curtain. But now the curtain had been ripped away, and the audience, millions of Sister Wives fans, could see the chaos laid bare. "This isn't fair," she muttered to no one. "We gave everything. We sacrificed." But that wasn't how Christine saw it. Watching Kody flounder in the aftermath of the ruling gave her a sense of final closure. She had spent too many years fighting for recognition, begging for equality, and now for once the law was on her side. He thought he could just walk away. She whispered to Janelle as they exited the courthouse together, sunlight catching the glint of her new wedding ring. "But you don't get to neglect your kids, then complain when the bills show up." Janelle nodded, her face stoic, but her heart on fire. She'd fought tooth and nail, not just for herself, but for her children who had silently endured the void of a missing father. And now, finally, their voices had weight. The press was already circling like vultures outside the courthouse. Cameras flashed, questions flew. "Kody, do you have any comments on the judge's decision? Robyn, is it true your assets are frozen?" Oh, the couple pushed past them, shielding their faces. There was no spin that could fix this. No TLC edit could soften this blow. This was raw. This was real. This was Kody Brown at his lowest point. Later that evening, inside their now over-mortgaged Flagstaff home, Robyn collapsed on the living room couch, her hands tangled in her hair. Bills were scattered across the coffee table like confetti at a failed celebration. "What are we going to do, Kody?" she asked, her voice cracking. Kody didn't answer. He was in the study, typing furiously on his laptop, drafting a blog post for the few remaining supporters clinging to his online platforms. His post read like a confession cloaked in martyrdom. "I've been vilified," it began. "I have loved my children. I've tried to provide. But this system, this court, is trying to bankrupt me," he had published, hoping to control the narrative, but the internet had already moved faster. Screenshots of the court transcript were circulating. TikTokers were mocking his crocodile tears. Instagram pages dedicated to Sister Wives drama posted side-by-side clips of him preaching fatherhood and now being dragged into court for child support. Even Reddit threads, once divided on who was to blame, had reached a rare consensus. Kody had dug his own grave in. Now he had to lie in it. Meri, meanwhile, sat in quiet contemplation, away from the frenzy. She had chosen peace over chaos, solitude over performance. She didn't rejoice in Kody's unraveling, but she didn't mourn it either. She had seen this coming. All of them had, in small ways. The favoritism, the gaslighting, the ego that inflated every time Robyn batted her lashes had all led to this collapse. The truth always wins, she murmured to herself, lighting a candle in her modest Airbnb. Even if it takes years. TLC producers watched all of this unfold like sharks circling blood in the water. The drama was real and the ratings would be high. But even they were uneasy. A whispered conversation in a production meeting echoed the sentiment. This isn't entertainment anymore. It's a collapse. A week passed and Kody filed a motion for appeal. Desperation oozed from the legal paperwork. His attorney used words like unjust, excessive, and financially ruinous. But the court wasn't moved. The appeals judge skimmed the request and saw through the smoke. Kody Brown was not a victim. He was a man trying to escape the consequences of years of neglect, emotional absence, and televised bravado. The appeal was denied within 72 hours. Final, binding, enforceable. Back in Christine's home, laughter echoed through the hallways. David Woolley was helping Truly with homework, and for once there was no tension in the air. Christine checked her bank account and saw the first court-mandated support deposit hit. It wasn't just about the money, it was acknowledgement. Recognition that her efforts, her time, her sacrifice had value. She texted Janelle a screenshot, followed by a single word: victory. Meanwhile, Robyn received a call from the families. Accountant what was left in their joint savings wouldn't cover more than 2 months of bills. The credit cards were maxed, property taxes were overdue. Aurora, still furious, had distanced herself, and Dayton hadn't spoken to Kody in weeks. Even Solomon and Ariella sensed the tension. Robyn sobbed that night, not just from fear, but from the realization that the empire she thought she secured was now crumbling beneath her feet. Kody made one final plea this time, not to the courts, but to the public. He uploaded a long video titled, "They Want to Ruin Me," my side of the story. In it, he paced back and forth in front of his truck, gesturing wildly, his voice trembling, with a mix of rage and desperation.